the man never expected that even as the strongest healer, one day he'd end up being despised. Just because Jack's healing magic was so powerful, he could restore his teammates' injuries instantly in every battle, to the point that the other injured teammates didn't even notice. Afterward, they even thought it was simply because they were too strong, so they kicked Jack out of the party. After leaving the team, Jack wandered into the streets, and ran into an elf on the verge of death. After a quick examination, Jack pulled out the only gold coin he had, and bought her, because in his eyes, the wounds looked severe, but weren't actually fatal. So before the elf could even react, he used magic to heal her. When the girl opened her eyes again, she thanked Jack as she looked at her fully healed wounds. After that, Jack brought her to a tavern, planning to find a way to earn money and survive. Right at that moment, a lizard man suffering from a gunshot wound walked in with a face twisted in pain. Jack immediately concluded it was a large area burn caused by a magic gun. Then he raised his hand and recited an incantation. In just a few seconds, the wound that should have required amputation to save his life healed instantly under the light of Jack's magic. After a brief moment of shock, the lizard man, grateful that Jack had saved him, pulled out every last bit of savings he had. With his first real payout in hand, Jack came up with the idea of opening a clinic, but because he was born in the slums and had never received formal training, there was no way he could get a kingdom physician's license, so he decided to find some remote corner and work as an illegal doctor. After wandering around at night, Jack stumbled upon an abandoned estate. He thought no one lived there, but the moment he stepped inside, a shadow attacked him, a phantom-like figure, an overwhelming pressure. There was no doubt this was the ruler of undead monsters, the necromancer king, Anna. Though she looked human on the outside, as long as she touched someone, she could easily steal their life away. But Jack wasn't panicked at all, because he already knew his healing magic dealt extraordinary damage to undead creatures. Anna refused to believe it and tried again, but the hundreds of undead she summoned were wiped out in an instant. Jack didn't press the attack when he saw that. He said he was only looking for a place to live. Seeing he had no ill intent, Anna agreed to let Jack stay there. The next day, just as Jack was about to open for business, he discovered the lizard man he treated yesterday had shown up at his door. The man begged Jack to treat his older sister, and said he was willing to pay a high price. After a quick look, Jack determined her arm had been hit by a magic gun with a poisonous effect, and the bullet fragment left inside would slowly corrode the surrounding muscle tissue. Treating it was simple. Cut off the arm and regenerate it. Sophia found it hard to believe, because she had never heard of anyone who could use magic to regrow severed limbs. As Jack began channeling his magic, her bones visibly grew at high speed. After reconnecting the nerves and rebuilding the arm, Sophia's missing limb grew back successfully. Sophia was stunned. She never imagined Jack's healing magic could be this powerful, so she immediately paid him 100 gold coins as his fee, and said that from now on, whenever members of her group were injured, they would come here for treatment. But that stirred up the werewolf leader's anger, because in the past few days of fighting, he had noticed the lizard man who should have been taken out with serious injuries kept mysteriously coming back the next day at full health. After learning Jack had been secretly healing them the whole time, Lucy, the werewolf leader, decided to get rid of Jack, but to her surprise, ordinary physical attacks couldn't hurt Jack at all. Lucy grew furious at the sight, and decided to smash up Jack's clinic first. The commotion quickly woke Anna. Just as she was about to use magic to teach the werewolves a lesson, Jack hurriedly stepped in and stopped her at the critical moment. That was the only reason the werewolves barely escaped with their lives. Seeing this, Lucy assumed Jack was Anna's master, so she immediately led her men to their knees. After all, werewolves were servants of the night folk, so they had an instinctive fear of higher races like necromancers and vampires, and as the master of the necromancer king, Jack was naturally someone they couldn't afford to offend. With the whole pack begging for mercy, Jack decided not to hold it against them. But the very next day, new trouble came knocking again. This time, the visitors were from the half-orc tribe, and they came to ask Jack to treat an illness. After hearing the patient couldn't move, Jack decided to go personally and treat them on site. They then arrived at a cave, because Jack's reputation as an unlicensed healer had already spread throughout the slums. The half-orc leader, Ellie, was very polite to him. Jack took a quick look, and found that Ellie had no external wounds, so the problem had to be internal. So Jack stepped forward and gave Ellie an enhanced CT scan. Only then did he discover a hard lump in her belly pulsing with magical energy, and it was a terrifyingly powerful explosive magic stone. Jack asked in horror whether someone had forced her to swallow it. Ellie helplessly admitted she was just greedy, and accidentally swallowed the magic stone thinking it was a rice ball. Jack was speechless. Before leaving, he told Ellie the solution. If they left it alone, it could pass naturally through digestion and be expelled. But Ellie rejected that method, because when she swallowed the stone, she had accidentally bitten off a small piece. Once the stone was even slightly stimulated, it would explode. Seeing that even Jack couldn't solve it, Ellie decided to leave her inheritance to Jack, because Jack treated poor children for free, and that alone made Ellie admire him. At that moment, Jack realized how serious the situation was, so he stood in front of Ellie, summoned a magic cutting blade, and in just a few seconds, he cleanly removed the magic stone. Everyone nearby was shocked by what they saw. Seeing their reactions, Jack explained the reason, but after he finished explaining, he crushed the magic stone on the spot, the very thing that could have wiped out the half-orc tribe. Everyone was terrified by that move. Jack brushed off the dust and explained he had simply cast defensive magic on his hands. It hurt a little, but he could heal instantly anyway. The beast folk never would have imagined that besides healing magic, Jack's defense was just as outrageous. From then on, the three bosses of the slums would drop by the clinic whenever they had time. Even though none of them were injured, they kept visiting Jack on schedule. That's when the necromancer King Anna started teasing Jack, saying maybe they had all fallen in love with him. And the truth was, she wasn't wrong. A few days later, the three factions gathered in a dueling arena. They decided to fight for Jack the only way they knew how. Jack didn't stop them when he saw it, so the three of them didn't hesitate either, each pulling out their signature skills, drawing their weapons and charging straight into battle. The scene scene quickly turned chaotic. But after all that fighting, the ones who got hurt the most were the underlings on each side. What surprised everyone was that they fought non-stop from daytime all the way into evening, and still couldn't settle it, because no matter how hard they fought, anyone who went down would get back up without pain. Sophia also realized something was off. Her wounds were healing. It was obvious Jack was secretly treating them. As long as anyone on the field got hurt, he would heal them in time, and that meant they would keep fighting forever. Jack's goal was to make the demi-humans understand one thing. Fighting like this would never lead to an outcome. A full day of battle also washed away all the hostility in their hearts. Jack took the chance to mediate their relationship, and just like that, the three faction leaders let go of their grudges. They stopped fighting, but the three of them said they still had a shared goal, to compete fairly, but Jack had no idea what they were plotting.